Hey everyone, Befron here, and today we're going to talk about protecting your trading cards. Stick around and let's jump in. Alright, so today we're going to talk a little bit about protecting your trading cards. So if you're new to the game, any of the games, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, or any other trading card game, this is basically a tutorial on the different types of sleeves and other protection methods that you can use to make sure your cards are safe and they stay in good condition. If you like what you see today, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Also check out befrontcg.com where you can support the channel by buying some of your favorite Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering sealed product and singles. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. So, I know I usually do a lot of pack openings, but I wanted to focus a little bit today on how to protect the cards that you might pull out of your pack. So, we open a lot of packs on the channel, but, I use a bunch of different sleeves to protect those cards that I pull from those packs. So I want to share a little bit of that information for people who might be new collectors, whether they're playing Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic, or any other card game. Give them a little bit of an idea of what are the kinds of sleeves and other protective items that you can use to make sure your card stays safe and in good condition. So what I've been holding here is a Butterfree, just a random card, but it is protected in what we call a penny sleeve. And these are basically the pretty much the most basic form of protection for your card. So they are called a penny sleeve because you generally get them in packs of 100. They'll usually come in a little Ziploc bag like this one that you see here. You'll get about 100 of them, and they usually sell that for $1. Recently they have been a little bit more expensive because it's been hard to find them lately, so things tend to go up in price when there's less supply. But overall, they're generally about $1 for a pack of 100, so that means each is about a penny. And again, they provide decent protection. It's not a perfect fit for your cards, but yeah, they'll protect the surface of the cards, make sure nothing gets on them from any, small spills or anything like that. So a good basic way to collect and protect your, pretty much standard, somewhat rare cards. After penny sleeves, and if they're not enough or you want a little more protection, I have two examples of different kinds of sleeves. These are more your standard card sleeves. They're a lot thicker than a penny sleeve. Often they'll have a little bit of a design on the back, but overall they provide a lot more protection for your card. So these are a lot thicker plastic, you can see, as compared to a penny sleeve. They're a lot more sturdy, a lot more firm. If I bring a penny sleeve over here, it's just very flimsy, not too strong. The other standard sleeves are pretty strong and durable and provide a lot more protection. You can feel that they're a lot thicker. So these are generally the best way to protect your cards if you're going to be, you want a little more protection, especially if you're going to be playing with them in a deck. There's generally two kinds of finishes that these come in. There's kind of the non-glare finish or the matte finish, and then the glossy finish that you can see over here. So you can see the effect that these have, right? So the glossy finish, you can see the card a lot better, especially that holographic. You can very clearly see the holographic pattern around this Arcanine. The problem with these high gloss sleeves is that you get a lot of glare. So if I catch this in the wrong light, you'll be able to see that it gets really hard to sometimes read the text on the card, like something like that. So if I have this lamp hitting this in the wrong light, it's pretty hard to read what this card says because of that glare. Whereas this, right, so this is your matte or non-glare finish, it's a little hard to see the holographic, so you don't really get the effect of the art as much. You'll lose some of the beauty of the art, but pretty much at every angle you can always clearly see what the card says. It kind of deflects a lot of that glare in the light, so it doesn't matter how I show you this card, you can always pretty much see what it says. These sleeves you can get in Elite Trainer boxes, so you can see I have these here. This is from an old XY Evolutions Elite Trainer box, and this is from the Shining Fates Elite Trainer box with the EV VMAX. So you can get these in Elite Trainer boxes. They come in packs of 65 usually. Deck of Pokemon cards is 60 cards, so they give you the 60 plus 5 extra just in case you damage one or you need a couple extras for the pulls you get out of the box. So as I mentioned, you can get these kind of sleeves in Elite Trainer boxes and other Pokemon products, but another good way to get these is just through companies that make accessories. So those companies include Ultra Pro, BCW, GameGenic, Dragon Shield. There's a handful of others, but those are probably some of the biggest names that you'll see. And those companies all make sort of different kind of products to protect your cards, to store your cards, all that good stuff. This mat itself is actually made by Ultra Pro, so definitely go check those out if you want to pick up a pack of sleeves. They usually come in packs of 60 to 100 to fit your different kinds of deck. The next thing to be aware of is what's called an inner sleeve. Sometimes these are called perfect fit sleeves, and you'll notice that you really can't even tell that there's a sleeve on the card. It fits so tight. The only way you know is from this glare. So you can tell that these are called perfect fit for a reason, because the sleeve is so tight on the card. In fact, it's so tight it can be even a little bit difficult to get the cards in and out of the sleeves. You actually kind of really have to do it gently and put a good amount of pressure on them. These other sleeves, it's like just the cards almost fall in and out of the sleeve. These inner sleeves are very tight. So they really have a nice look to them because, again, you can't see the sleeve. There's none of this like overhang where the sleeve is kind of like falling off over the edge of the card. It does look really nice. However, the main use for these sleeves is actually for double sleeving your cards. So this sleeve is actually so tight on this card that you can actually take the card with the inner sleeve and then put it into another sleeve. So if I take the Arcanine out here, you can see that this card with the inner sleeve will still fit into another sleeve. So this just provides another layer of protection for your cards. I would say in general you shouldn't just put an inner sleeve on your card and consider it protected, especially because the plastic on top is so low that the top of your card is still susceptible to damage. Even with a penny sleeve, as cheap as they are, at least it gives a little extra material on top of the card to protect the top. The penny sleeve is really meant to fit very tightly, so the top of your card is still pretty exposed. But then if you wrap it in a second sleeve here, you get a lot of protection. And this is nice for really rare cards. Maybe you have a deck of cards with a lot of very rare cards and you want to give them an extra level of protection. So something to think about if you really have a deck with a lot of rare cards. Maybe you have full arts or alternate arts in one of your decks. You really want to protect them. Use the double sleeving approach to do that. The last thing to keep in mind for my Yu-Gi-Oh players out there is the size of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So you'll notice that I have this random War Rock Gactos Yu-Gi-Oh card here. Nothing special, but you'll notice that this sleeve is way too big for this card. So this is, again, just a regular penny sleeve, but if I compare that to a Pokemon card, yeah, there's some, little overhang of plastic on the side here, but when I look at the Yu-Gi-Oh card, it clearly slides around in that sleeve, so that can even scratch the surface. If dirt gets into the sleeve, which it can more easily because there's so much slack, and then your card is also sliding around, it does let your card get damaged easier. So having your Yu-Gi-Oh cards in a sleeve like this might not be the best idea because they're so much smaller. So if I compare a Yu-Gi-Oh card to a Pokemon card, you'll see it's quite a bit smaller. The general rule is Yu-Gi-Oh cards are smaller and Pokemon and Magic cards are the standard size cards. So what do you do about this, right? You should get your small sleeves. So these are sleeves that are made for Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They're small sleeves. Sometimes they'll call those Japanese style sleeves or Japanese size. So, if you are playing Yu-Gi-Oh cards and you want to buy sleeves, make sure that your sleeves are small sleeves. That way they won't slide around. You get this nice tight fit for your Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So again, that's really only a concern for Yu-Gi-Oh. Magic the Gathering and Pokemon both use these standard size sleeves. And by default, any sleeves that you buy in a store are probably going to be standard, but it's always good to ask just to make sure. So that's pretty much it for soft sleeves. The last thing I wanted to mention is the top loader. So this is another form of protection. This isn't something you'd ever play with in a deck, but it's a good way to protect your very valuable cards. It's really just a hard plastic barrier for your cards that you would use to put into your collection. You'd never put this in a deck or play with this, but it's really give a final layer of protection. So even if something hits this card pretty hard, it's pretty well protected in a top loader like this. And again, all the usual companies make top loaders. The final level of exterior protection for your cards is what's known as the Card Saver. So here I have the Card Saver 1. And this is, again, another way to protect your card. It's a little flimsier, but it's still a lot thicker than a regular card sleeve. You can see how these work. You kind of open them up from the top, pinch them open with your other hand, and you take your card, generally in any kind of soft sleeve, and just slide it in there. I find these a lot harder to use. And sometimes I find myself like the cards get stuck as they're going in and you have to apply too much force, and I'm always afraid of putting too much force on like the top of the card like that. But if you get a little practice, you can get them in there pretty safely, and it provides a lot of extra margin so that the card doesn't accidentally fall out. Again, it's a little sticky and hard to get the card in there at first, but once it's in there, it doesn't really shake out. Sometimes the concern with top loaders is that if I shake this around enough, a little too much in the wrong way, the card starts to slide out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But generally in a card saver, it's a lot more stuck in there. The only downside to these, I would say, is that they are still they're not quite as hard as a top loader. Top loaders, you can hear, are made of very solid plastic. These card savers are a little flimsier. The reason these card savers are important is for PSA submissions. So a lot of these grading companies like PSA or BGS, they do require cards to be submitted in this kind of sleeve. I've heard, I've never done it myself, but I've heard that people get their submissions rejected if they put them in top loaders, or they get charged extra fees. So they do require Card Saver 1 by Cardboard Gold for these kind of submissions. I don't know why, but that's just what they require. Just something to keep in mind if you submit your cards. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share today for everyone trying to get into Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering or any other card games, and just trying to learn how to properly protect your valuable investments. Just wanted to give this as a little summary of what to do between your penny sleeves, your regular card sleeves, your inner sleeves, Yu-Gi-Oh! Size sleeves. I want to just cover a lot of the different basics so you know how to protect your cards appropriately for all of your favorite games. Anyway, if you like what you see, again, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my store, BefronTCG.com, to support the channel by buying some of your favorite Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Magic the Gathering products. Please come back again soon, and I'll see you next time.